Hello and welcome to Good Morning Thailand. We're going to be talking about some of the headlines from across the country. This is Alex.
Good morning.
He's our special guest today. More on him after the break. Let's just get straight into the news. Our first story today is regarding an Indian tourist, once again in Pattaya, pickpocketed and lost 44,000 baht. That's right. You heard me right. Pickpocketed 44,000 baht. Now, as tourism grows in Thailand, some things never change. Stories of Indian tourists having their gold chains stolen or being pickpocketed or robbed. Or, ladyboys seem to crop up almost every week. And this week is no exception. An Indian student, actually, was reportedly pickpocketed on Friday in Pattaya, and his wallet lightened of about 44,000 baht. Now, I'm not sure if he slipped and meant to say 4,000 baht, but the alleged incident occurred after he finished shopping at a local convenience store at around 11 p.m. The student and his friend went to Pattaya police station. They filed a report. He stated that a group of Thai people approached him after leaving the store. The group distracted him with a conversation, asking him about what he bought about and spoke about his holiday. And then he said that later during the conversation, one of them must have pickpocketed him and taken 44,000 baht in cash from his pants. The student did not explain why he was carrying such a large sum of money with him at that time, and the Pattaya City Police Station took the report and stated that CCTV footage from the store and other cameras nearby would have reviewed, and they're going to try to identify and arrest these suspects. So my first question is, Alex, when was the last time you had 40,000 plus in your pocket?
So wait, you mean you don't walk around with that kind of cash?
No, generally no.
No?
I believe in a cashless society.
Indeed.
Which some people frown upon. I get it. Emergencies happen, but
that and they're tracking you the whole time. But no, I think why are you carrying around that much cash? You're kind of like asking for trouble, especially if you're susceptible to that kind of a con. Right, like it's like kind of like the oldest trick in the book, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, how's your holiday? And then like somebody's just sneaking out the back. But it's always a team effort, right?
Yeah.
You never like sort of just like it's never like the movies where the guy just bumps into you and like gets the thing out of your wallet or something like that.
I guess he didn't feel safe leaving it in the safe.
Yeah, that's why they call them
hotel.
safes,
Yeah.
though, isn't it?
But I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've seen magicians, take watches out of people's wrists and ties out of people's shirts. So, how likely do you think that group of people attacking were actually magicians?
Wow.
It is Pattaya, the Vegas of
That is
Thailand.
not a question I thought I'd be answering first thing in the morning. But yeah, a gang of magician thieves. No,
possible.
We can't rule it out.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Probable, probably not. Possible.
Look, I mean, it worked. 44,000. That's a fat wallet. I think you would notice it like if it was missing right away.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought. But Pattaya police have been warning tourists to not carry large amounts of cash or flashy jewelry, especially to the Indian tourists.
Also Pattaya.
As there have been numerous pickpocketing incidents reported by tourists. Just in the last week, several robberies have already taken place, and thefts have been making national news. A Singaporean family's vacation in Phuket, for example, was spoiled after their villa was burgled of 485,000 baht of worth of valuables, including 2 Louis Vuitton bags.
So it was probably just 2 Louis Vuitton bags were stolen.
Probably.
Got it.
Yeah,
Cool.
Pretty much.
I don't know. Robbery is going to go up as tourism goes up, right? Like it's just a fact of activity in these areas. Tourists are easy targets. It's been desperate for a long time, right? Like there's just been no traffic in Thailand and Bangkok, Phuket, all of that stuff. And now there's just a ton. So it just comes with the territory, I think. Like that's it.
I've always been proud and told my friends that, look, come to Thailand. It's fairly safe, but be smart and be vigilant, especially in those tourist areas, right?
Like it sounds like these guys weren't being smart. If you got like 44,000 in your pocket, not the smartest. If you've got hundreds of thousands of baht worth of stuff in your hotel room, put it in the safe, right? Like they're pretty simple safety measures that seem like they were ignored in this story. So just be smart when you're traveling.
Talking about being smart while traveling, some Russian tourists have not, because our next story is regarding Russians who have been arrested because they've been doing things that they shouldn't be.
Indeed. Well, I don't know. Come on. We all do things we shouldn't be doing, but not everything is against the law. So, this takes us to the next story, which is where, a Russian national was arrested acting as an illegal tour guide for another group of Russians.
Okay.
So this is all because it's illegal to be a tour guide in Thailand if you are not Thai. But I think often that would come with challenges for different tour groups, like, say, Russians, for example, where there might not be so many readily available.
Fluent Russian speakers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that somebody would spring up in the I guess black market tourism or something like that to sort of fill in that gap. And the funny thing about it is, it was a group of 11 people. The tour group was 11 people. So where do we draw the line between, like, is this just like a family vacation with someone showing them around, or is this like an illegally operating tour group?
If they came out of like 2 buses and like there was clearly a guy with a like megaphone,
right?
That's proper, But
Did they have the flag?
Like 11 people could just be like an extended family,
Exactly my point. So I was thinking, like, how did they get spotted, right? Probably because this isn't their first rodeo. They've probably been at this for a little while.
Yeah.
And somebody just caught wind and they caught him. They arrested him. I don't know what the punishment is.
Yeah.
Actually, that wasn't clear from our research, but it seems like just a funny little story, right? Like, I feel, because I've done this. I've had friends show up and I'm just taking them around Thailand. Am I in trouble?
We've got proof on him now.
No, you got me on
work.
camera now.
But look, there's been examples of illegal work especially for the last 2 months since January. Regarding a lot of Chinese people. Chinese shops operating illegally in Chinatown, Chinese tour companies and tour guide issues, same as the Russians, Chinese abusing Thailand elite cards, even professional businessmen coming here and purchasing properties and businesses that and kind of
just through surrogates and like
there's different levels, and it's not just the Chinese tourists. It's okay. Anyone who comes here as a tourist will try to abuse the system.
Yeah, right? Well,
so
people like it here.
Yes. What's making the news right now are Chinese tourists and Russian tourists because they're coming in mass and there's a lot of them currently, and they're escaping something.
Right, exactly. So there's a couple of aspects to that, right? There's the Russians who are just so the Chinese, they're opening up, so they're just traveling again, right, for the first time, and there's still a lot of restrictions on them. Thailand is not putting a lot of those restrictions on them. So like in America, it's very difficult for the Chinese to travel there. Thailand's a lot cheaper and accessible. So that makes sense why they're starting to flood in. But the Russians obviously are the Russians that are coming here. Sure, there's a lot of tourism because it's one of the only countries they're allowed to go into right now because of the conflict in Ukraine. But more than that, the Russians have that incentive to be here permanently, right? Like they want to come here and start making lives here and trying to get out of that sticky situation back there.
Absolutely.
And so this story about them being tour guides and doing these jobs illegally makes more sense in my mind than the Chinese. So for example, like you were saying, another part of the story was I found that 3 Chinese guys were arrested for operating an illegal restaurant in Bangkok. Like, what? Like,
so I think that was in Yaowarat. That was the story I think I was referring to. But I think I mentioned it last week as well. Rise in real estate demand for Russians in Phuket had gone up more than 100%.
Whoa!
So they're not only families that want to come and relocate here, but not everyone coming here is like a millionaire.
Oh yeah.
There are people who just want to come here and make a living and escape from the difficulties in their own country. So
and Thailand's such an attractive option for that. So
and what's right, what's wrong, that can be debated forever. But according to the law, some people will always be a little naughty.
Legal and illegal is not always the same as moral and immoral. So it's a tough one because you understand their motivations, but at the same time there's laws.
True.
Tough one.
We're going to discuss the laws during the break. We're going to take a quick break. Once we come back from the break, we've got 2 amazing stories. One regarding Koh Tao, which is also notorious for some mysterious deaths. And, of course, we're going to end the show today with a bang with the Thai Bonnie and Clyde. This is a real story. They've stolen from 32 petrol stations. It's a real couple. Find out more.
Ambitious.
After the break.
And join the fun at Carnival Magic, the world's first Thai carnival theme park. Don't miss the opportunity to experience the enchantment of the magical wonders at the one, the only Carnival Magic.
Welcome back. You're watching Good Morning Thailand, and this show is brought to you by Carnival Magic. It's a carnival fantasy, one of the newest attractions in Thailand. If you're visiting Phuket next time, go there with your family, go there with your loved ones. You won't be disappointed. We made a whole video about it. Also, I'd like to give a big shout out to our newest Thaiger member. Alex, we actually have a group of Thaiger members who actually support us and actually help us to do a lot of videos that we normally wouldn't be able to do. So our latest member, Emmeline Faye Mission, thank you very much.
Thanks, Emmeline.
For becoming a Thaiger member. We appreciate it very, very much. Now, who is this handsome young gentleman next to me? Alex, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, like you said, my name's Alex.
His name is Alex.
I'm originally from Florida in Miami.
Nice.
But I've spent. You haven't been there much, have you?
Miami sounds good, man. I don't know.
That's what I say to people to try and sound impressive, but it's actually not all it's cracked up to be. Great place to visit. Go sometime. But I've spent the last decade plus living abroad, and I've lived in China, in Australia, and now the past 3 years in Thailand as well. So I fell into the expat life. Embraced it completely. I've spent time mostly as an educator, corporate trainer. I've done commercials. I've done presentation work. White face Asia stuff. Like I hate like that privilege that comes with just being an American, out there in the world. But I'm eating it up. Sorry, but it's been an amazing ride, and Thailand has just been was never on my radar.
Yeah.
Got stuck here because of COVID.
Okay.
Actually, so just total serendipity to get locked out of where I was living and locked down here, and just fell in love. Like, how
get
can you
stuck?
not?
Yeah.
I'm not complaining at all. But nice to meet you all.
Well, yeah, welcome to the show, and members and viewers, please welcome Alex to today's show as well. We're going to continue talking about our final two stories. This first one is about remembering the dead regarding Koh Tao.
So, like a little bit of a Bermuda Triangle situation we got going on over in Koh Tao, but it's all on the island, not actually in the ocean. There's a few murder mysteries that pop up on this island. And recently, just last month, there was a dive instructor from Birmingham in the UK who was found mysteriously dead within his hotel room. Of natural causes, not much explanation,
Allegedly.
Well, I don't know. I'm not doing the autopsy. But it comes on like the anniversary of like 23 years before another Brummie. Apparently, that's what we learned. What people from Birmingham are called.
That's right.
Another dive master from Birmingham was murdered in similarly mysterious fashion. He was found at the bottom of a well, and authorities said his neck was broken. But then the family did their own autopsy report, found every bone was broken except the neck. So that was 23 years ago. This is far from the only two stories of mysterious deaths.
There's quite a few. There's quite a few.
So, what's going on there? What do you think?
Look, to be honest, it's slightly scary to talk about Koh Tao. I'll tell you why. Because Samui Times, which was a prominent newspaper or news agency at one time, got in a lot of trouble because they ran a story before it actually went out by the local sources of Koh Tao itself, which was regarding a death case of a Belgian tourist on the island of Koh Tao.
And it's always tourists, by the way. That's the other interesting
That's
part.
right. And what happened was Samui Times was sued for that. From the Koh Tao police station, and Samui Times faced a libelous lawsuit with a serious charge of violating the Computer Crime Act for posting misinformation, and prosecutors went hard. Now, one of the chief writers there, Suzanne Buchanan, who I've had the pleasure to meet, actually.
Oh, nice.
She was charged for publishing false information on the website and for tarnishing the reputation of Koh Tao, which has a max sentence of 5 years in jail and 100,000 baht. So she did the most appropriate thing for her at that time, which was running away.
Leave.
She bailed.
I was going to say.
She fled. She's written a book about it, The Curse of the Turtle. We actually had her on Good Morning Thailand.
Wow.
We did a
I assume on video.
Zoom interview, absolutely, video with her. Koh Tao is referred by a few people as Murder Island. That's right. And this name is a bit harsh when you think about it. Look,
it's a beautiful place. Okay,
and
I've been. It's nice,
and it definitely sticks. Yeah, like when you think about it. So in that way, yes, it's a horrible name for an island to have. Saying that does not make it
not true.
Yes.
Right? Like, yeah, the reputation is kind of
Allegedly.
well-earned.
Once again, allegedly.
We're trying to avoid those libel
Yes.
lawsuits over here, but
Yeah.
just YouTube Murder Island, and that'll
Yeah.
be the first thing that'll pop up, and you'll see a million
That's
videos.
right.
So the
Koh
reputation
Tao
is earned.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Koh Tao has way too many of these cases to
feel
to
coincidence,
not talk
right?
about,
Yeah.
right? And you have to be careful because people are like, yeah, call them out and this and that. Guys, there are defamation laws in this country.
It's crazy.
And you can call certain things out that are facts, but you have to be very careful about what you talk about because, especially if you're a foreigner in this country, you can get in a lot of trouble.
Well, you need to provide a lot of the evidence for what you're backing up too. So it seems like it is a problem with a lot of newspapers in Thailand too, that information gets published very quickly.
Yeah.
Right? It's a problem everywhere.
That's right.
Everybody wants to be first to the story, so it doesn't get checked out.
That's actually what happened with Samui Times. They posted this, and everyone was like, "Wait, the government, the officials in Koh Tao haven't come out with it. The autopsy's not out. This and that. Who's your source? Where are you getting the story from?" Obviously, they wanted to control their own PR, and they couldn't accept that a foreigner or Samui Times is coming out with this. Like, it's none of your business, kind of thing.
Right, but then that creates
a
the
point of it,
obvious
yeah.
that creates the obvious conflict of interest of what if you are trying to call out the state? What if you're trying to call out the government, right? Like that's kind of the media's job as the fourth pillar, right? The fourth estate is that when there is BS happening behind the veil of power, who is going to call it out? Who's going to investigate it? And these laws make it very difficult to sort of go after the government when it doesn't want to be gone after. Right, there are plenty of areas where the reporting is easy and it's fine, but for some reason, this island, Koh Tao in particular, there's a very, very strong veil of mystery shrouding the entire island and what goes on with all of these mysterious deaths. So,
all I'm going to say is that it's not my preferred destination
Indeed.
For a holiday.
Stick to Samui.
Stick to Samui, says. Allegedly, guys, allegedly. Let's protect ourselves. Swiftly moving on to our last topic today, which is regarding Thai Bonnie and Clyde. Now, I'll be honest, this was actually around 6 days ago. I did stumble upon it over the weekend, but I had to share it with you. So some people might be aware, but this story is regarding the Thai Bonnie and Clyde who have been arrested after hitting 32 petrol stations in Isaan.
Ambitious. Did you say how much time? Over how much time did they do this?
Excellent question. I will go through that.
Doesn't matter. They
Doesn't
went.
matter,
They hit 33.
They
Right? Like,
did it specifically, because more than 50 police officers joined forces to arrest this Thai Bonnie and Clyde. They robbed 32 petrol stations, and the scoundrels ran circles around the officers in several provinces of the Isaan part of Thailand. One of the suspects worked as a PT petrol station manager and used insider information to rob other branches under the same brand. They stole over 2 million baht. And after a month-long wild goose chase, they were arrested at their homes after they were caught basically red-handed. So what basically happened was they found, after they robbed about 32 petrol stations, they realized...
Inside job, by the way.
Inside job. They saw the truck that was being used, which was registered to the manager.
Yeah.
And eventually they followed the van. They saw them rob the petrol station. They waited until they got back home and then they arrested
Catch them
them.
red-handed, right?
That's right. And the suspects were confident and continued committing the crimes because after they even knew that the police was after them, they still continued.
What?
I
Dude,
mean,
like,
this
quit
couple,
while you're
they're
ahead,
like,
guys, come on.
They know they're looking for us, but we're just gonna continue doing
Why
it.
not? Like, that shows they weren't doing it for the money; they were doing it for the fun. Okay?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
But this creates this kind of like folk hero status amongst them, right? Because this is just like Bonnie and Clyde, right? That's where they're getting these. Who is the victim here?
Yeah. Well, these thieves actually knew the security system of the petrol stations,
sure.
and that's why they were extremely confident and avoided almost all the security cameras.
yeah.
They planned very well and did not leave any traces behind. So
Really?
they didn't know who they were for the longest time until they were like, all right, this car's appearing a bit way too much. Why would you want to use your own registered car for this? That's where they lacked the...
Well, especially because you're making so much money at that point, you can start just renting or whatever, like just pop off some license plate. I don't know. I'm not a professional criminal, so I'm not entirely sure what would have made this more successful. But it is impressive that they got away with it for so long.
Well, they're notorious bandits in Isaan province.
Nobody ever died or anything, right? Like
no,
they're just like
no.
that's
Yes, thankfully Thankfully, there were no deaths or shootings or anything like that.
Yeah.
They were basically, they were robbing a petrol station in Nonghan district of Udon Thani, and they were basically followed home and finally arrested.
Yeah.
Now, they face 2 charges from Section 355 of criminal law. Whoever commits theft at night by destroying a barrier that protects people, it's a fine of up to 100,000 baht. And Section 336 of the criminal law, whoever violates Section 355 by using a vehicle to facilitate the violation, will be liable to half heavier punishment than the penalty stated in Section 355.
Wow.
So basically, they're going to have a huge fine and go to jail.
I am so surprised you had all of those legal codes memorized. Very fantastic.
Yeah, it's what I do.
Nice.
It's what I do, Alex. It's for the
important
people.
work.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, this is one of those things where you're seeing these people go out and they're robbing without hurting people or putting people into any sort of threat of violence, right? There's no like, give me your money with the gun thing. It's petrol stations, right? There's usually not a lot of sympathy for oil companies in the first place. So that kind of creates that sort of air of mystique and allure around these particular, like, why do we fall in love with people like Al Capone or Bonnie and Clyde?
Yeah.
These other, they are criminals, famously criminals, murderers.
Peaky
a lot of them.
Blinders, one of my
right, dude. We watched
favorite ones.
exactly your Boardwalk Empires.
People love anti-heroes.
Right, and especially when they see the system as flawed.
Yeah.
Like so many people do. I think these days, generally, with globalization, capitalism, yay, wealth, woo, we got it all. But a lot of people left behind. Stories like this are inspiring for a lot of people, even though it shouldn't. Like, it's
Note to self: the Thaiger
don't
does
do
not.
it.
Yeah.
What I mean is for desperate people, right? Like to hear, oh, they got away with it for that long, and then they were so stupid they just kept doing it. Like that's like you need to be tough on crime because people won't try to get away with stuff. So. Anyway, don't do crime. Don't rob banks. Don't do any of that. Sorry.
Note to self: the Thaiger does not condone any robbing of petrol stations or banks.
Yeah, nor do I personally.
Yes,
but
nor does Alex.
Like
We've protected ourselves.
Right, but I mean, it was right there in the article headline, right? The Bonnie and Clyde of Thailand.
Yeah.
What does that elicit?
It makes them famous. Yeah, and then people are like, "Oh, I want to do something." But
right. Yeah. Inspirational in the wrong ways.
Exactly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let us know if any of these stories have inspired you. Let us know your comments in the comment section below. Show some love for Alex. Alex, thank you very much for coming onto the show. Appreciate you coming and helping us out. And we hope you've enjoyed today's show. We'll see you live once again tomorrow morning. Until then, take care. See you. Bye-bye.